victory versus Nablus College, and then 3 straight losses in conference play to Newport's St. John's Christian called. Mauricio. And another kill for Mauricio. Which criteria we'll get used to hearing that a lot this afternoon. Mauricio led both the conference and the nation in kills per set. It's Elmira's turn with the ball. Mattis and Munoz Trinidad teaming up to take their biggest lead of the set so far. tight as they might have liked, and obviously for the set, but it was enough. MIT will start the action from rotation 1 with Max Turner, the 6'4" junior setter from Chandler, Arizona, starting us off. Slight change of pace here for Elmira, starting in rotation 5 with their setter at the net. Maybe changing matchups a little bit. If they were looking for a matchup change, that was not what they wanted. That is a very big block from Nick Gustafson on Mauricio to open the set. I would imagine that's a matchup that MIT is happy to live with. Another tough serve, also picking on Mauricio. The off-speed out of the middle is picked up after rattling through the block. Back to Munoz Trinidad. Great dig there from Turner all the way across, well, off speed. Back to Mauricio once again. This time the triple is there. MIT thought they had their fourth block, but it sails just long for a Mauricio kill. I have to correct my assessment of MIT's starting rotation. They were one ahead of where, Elmira's starting rotation. Cohen is now in the back row. They're one behind the Engineers. Another fine dig from Turner. Once again, across for Gustafson. Elmira's not happy about the ball handling. Another dig from MIT, chased into their own bench, giving a free ball that's not handled particularly well by the Soaring Eagles, but enough to get another swing for Mauricio, who's off the block and out of bounds. Third set starting much the same as the second. Tight so far, tied at 2. Mauricio back to hit his jumper. Not a great pass from the Engineers. Oh, a nice swing, getting a little recycle on the cover. Oh. Gustafson had settled into a much better rhythm late in the second. Found the antenna at that time. Engineers are doing a fine job in serve receive, especially their first-year libero, Kevin Windish. That time it's Oliveira with a nice pass. They get into first tempo. The block is covered and saved beautifully by the Engineers. Great pursuit, back to the back line with a stab. That effort leads to a free ball that was handled nicely in the end by Munoz Trinidad. Small run here on Mauricio's serving opportunity. That time he goes hands. Another over the top from O, picked up and very quickly sent back in with a great smart shot into the corner for the kill. This is now a little mini run from the Soaring Eagles, taking their lead to 3 at 5-2. This hasn't been a great rotation for the Engineers, despite pretty solid passing all around. Going to try Gustafson again. Definitely finds his rhythm on that swing. Impressive bang down the line for the kill. That will send Johnson back to the service line for MIT. Let's see if they continue to attack Mauricio with their serve. They do. Once again, the libero setting, not your first choice. And Munoz Trinidad that time with a high line shot, catches the antenna first. Elmira seems to think it caught the block and then the antenna. Little chat with the official. To no avail. Oh, Lions people are going to be called over. See if they have an opinion on the situation. The question here is whether that swing from Munoz Trinidad caught the antenna before or after it hit the MIT block. The initial call is that it was straight into the antenna after some somewhat vocal objections by the Soaring Eagles. They're going to talk about it and keep us in suspense as to what the final decision is going to be, based on the fact that he's apologizing. Yep. Down official is going to make sure the Elmira coach isn't going to be too unhappy with the bad news, but the call remains. Short floats handled nicely by Vega. Another great piece of the net from the Engineers. Yet another off-speed tip, perhaps that time because he didn't really have a choice. But there's a great big one-on-one block from Nick Gustafson, the second team all UVC selection for 2023. That's a mighty big block at a really big time. We're back to tied up here at 5-all. Gonna try the lefty again, and this time it's O and Rini making very short work of that swing by the lefty. Johnson with another tough float, but handled nicely This time, Maurizio is out of the back row with the off speed into the middle of the court. Some question from the MIT bench as to whether he might have had a back row violation. But if there was, nobody saw it. It is extremely warm here in Kenyon Gymnasium. It's a record-setting day of heat in the Hudson Valley. Temperatures reaching 90. So before this match is over, we are going to go through some towels and spend some time wiping the floor. But that's volleyball without air conditioning. Another jumper handled okay. Yet another off-speed tip over the top, which seems to be a pretty consistent strategy for the engineers that isn't paying immediate dividends. That time they end up with a free ball out of it and another swing when Gustafsson chooses to take a rip instead of the tip. He gets the kill and earns a trip to the service line. Engineers seem to think there's something they can hit over the top behind the Elmira block, but haven't gotten a lot out of it so far. That time it's Pizer, and this time there was no question as to when that ball hit the antenna, and it was off the block of Turner. Tied up once again at 7-all. It's our fourth tie of the match, of the set rather. That's not the way you draw it up in practice, but sorting out the play in question. Got the overpass from Mattis for the big swing from Soso, only to get blocked by Turner, who was actually in the net. The point stays with Elmira. Lefty jumper down the sideline, picked up by O. First tempo this time doesn't get a lot of mustard on it, leading to a big swing that's sent back in by MIT, and mishand a little bit by the Eagles. Ends up outside the official, which is not in play. MIT looking up at a 1-point deficit. Very nice pass there from Pizer. Gets him into first tempo. But Soso this time doesn't get the ball he was looking for and sends it long for the hitting error. Back to Mauricio. This time Soso chooses for the off speed, picked up nicely. Gustafsson's swing out of the back row either is tape or block. We'll see how that one comes out in the stat book. In any event, it goes as an error for Gustafsson and a point for the Soaring Eagles. Brings us back to a tie. We are nip and tuck here in the third, early in the third. There's a rare passing miscue from the engineers, ending in a free ball, which goes to a quick set. Very fast ball to the pin to Maurizio, who goes off the top for the kill. Can't expect to come out on top of too many of those when you're sending a free ball. And you've got the nation's kill leader waiting on the pin. Better this time. Not a great swing. Gustafsson gets a good contact in rhythm, but Mauricio was there for the solo stuff. And that will get us to a timeout, the first from the engineers. They have one more this set, and they are down 2 to the Soaring Eagles of Elmira College. As in most matches you see these days in men's volleyball, the serve and pass is playing a significant role in the tone and tenor of the match. MIT has been doing a very nice job in serve receive, nullifying a fairly strong Soaring Eagle service game, being able to run their first tempo and the rest of their offense pretty much the way they like. Having a little bit of trouble here in the third. They're right back on track. And that is a big swing right off the dome of Soso from Troy Olivera. Nice side out coming out of the timeout there for the Engineers to keep the Eagles within one. In system once again to the powerful outside. Nice block from the Engineers, ends up straight on the net, waiting for big Edwin Sosa to capitalize. Speaking of Sosa, he's back for the service line. Somewhat unconventional floater, little hop step, serving from deep. Finds the middle of the net. Kenny Turner back to the service line. Not something you see terribly often from someone who habitually plays defense in the 1 to serve from the 5. Another block on Maurizio. Great containment, transition, gets a quick sing that trickles down inside the Elmira block for the MIT point. Turner once again going to take this serve and then cross all the way over to his defensive spot. The serve, however, pays great dividends, getting the Eagles far enough out of system that they end up being called for the double contact on the setting attempt. Don't see a lot of those in men's volleyball these days. They are pretty liberal with how you can attack the ball with your hands, but that one was too much for first referee Tim Skinner. Setter's back in business on that ball. Very nice tempo ball, put away cleanly. Haven't seen a lot of clean kills from either team. Both blocks have been doing a nice job, but that was mighty pretty. Once again, Windisch has no problem in serve receive, to no avail as his hitter isn't able to penetrate the Soaring Eagle block. Maybe got a little bit greedy on that one. Tried to get a little something extra cross court. Caught the tape instead. Olivera's back to serve. Both teams in a 3-hitter configuration. Olivera's float serve drops nicely in front of Vega. High ball, lefty on the right. The lefty on the left side is picked up, but just far enough over the net for Mauricio to put it down for the kill. Side outs keep putting Elmira up 1. MIT has been siding out, can't seem to score a so-called real point. More fine serve receive from the Engineers. Gustafson continues to struggle a little bit there on the right side. Peiser gets the solo, but he also gets a little talking to from our first official, having perhaps directed his celebration into the MIT court rather than to his teammates. First officials tend to frown on such behavior. That gives us one of our few 2-point leads here in the third set. The match is tied 1 set apiece. More fine passing from Windisch Goes to the outside, benefit of a one-on-one block, but is dug effectively. There's a block through the seam from Oliveira. That's not a ball that is going to like very often. And sure enough, he sends it either long or wide. Could not make the distinction from here. That leads to an Engineer timeout. We're trailing 17-14. Once again, we are all tied up, one set apiece here in this 4-5 seed matchup in the 2023 UVC Conference Tournament Championship. The story in this third set is MIT's offense has cooled off a fair amount. Their leading hitter is having trouble finding his rhythm here in the third, having only 8 kills with 5 errors on 17 attempts through these 2.5 sets. Oliveira staying strong with 8 kills and 2 errors on 20 swings. On the other side, the Soaring Eagles, as predicted, have 16 kills from their nation-leading hitter with 16 kills. Maurizio also while hitting .333. And Edwin Sosa continues to play error-free volleyball with 6 kills on 9 swings. MIT once again shows their ability to side out of a timeout. Wasn't the prettiest first tempo we've seen, but it still goes in the stats as a kill. Once again, we seem to be having some conversations. The Engineers were very quickly onto the idea that Max Cohen had reached onto their side to make that set, even though he is in the back row. Not sure it's going to matter because the play ended in such a way that the point would be going to the Engineers anyway. I doubt his pleas are going to get him very far, as suspected. Tim Skinner sticks by his guns, and we are back to a 1-point game. Mauricio continues to be the serving target for the Engineers. Another transition opportunity dug by Mauricio. They get into their first tempo. A pretty fancy set there from a non-setter. More transition opportunities. This time the back row for Mauricio is picked up nicely by Oliveira, who's going to go short in the transition. Back to Mauricio into the block and picked up before it trickles down. More transition for the Soaring Eagles. MIT's making it difficult for them to find the court, and their perseverance pays off with Grant O. Real big, nice high swing down the line for the kill to tie the set at 17. Real nice defensive prowess from both sides. Nice long rally. MIT's patience pays off. Mauricio gets, MIT gets another great deflection at the net, but also managed to catch the net at the same time, negating what was an excellent dig and another transition opportunity. Mattis sends his jumps over. Very, very rare miscue for the Engineers on serve receive. Max Turner thinking he was going to get a little help. That was not to be found, and leads to the ace. much better this time. Gustafsson, once again, takes a line shot that he seems to favor and which seems to be getting him his most productive offense. He'll head back to the line. Still in a 1-point deficit. That is a great big swing from Jordan Pizer, getting the power tool off the engineer block to take the lead to 2 points and win the race to 20. Munoz Trinidad, the lefty, takes his serve into the net. The service errors are starting to really rack up for Elmira, now with 14 to MIT's 9, which is something you worry sometimes about in a 1-point game. And Edwin Sosa continues his error-free ways, that time sneaking the ball down inside a double MIT block for another kill. He is nearing double figures. Oliveira is blocked but covered. Nice recycle. They're going to go back to him. He's going to try it again. Deflected again, and this time Sosa gets his own deflection and throws it down for the kill. That'll push the Soaring Eagles lead to 2 points, 21-19. With Paulus back to serve for the Soaring Eagles, the 6-foot senior from Onondaga Nation, New York. Not a whole lot of choices there for the Eagles. Nice scramble there, and a miscue in the middle on the first tempo by the Engineers. Sends a ball out of bounds. They now trail by 4. Biggest lead of the set for the Eagles, and it comes at a crucial time at 23-19. More fine passing from the Engineer libero. Another opportunity for Oliveira, who puts it away and stops the bleeding. Trailing 3 late in the third. Samuel Kravitz will head back to the service line, trying to dig at least a couple points off of this hole. They're in system back to the guy who you kind of expect them to go back to, Mauricio. This time they're going to try the back row to Munoz Trinidad, who is blocked, almost gets the miraculous cover, but not enough. You have to think they're probably going to ride. They're very effective outside here late in this set. If they can get the ball to Mauricio, got to think MIT is expecting them to. Kravitz gets them in system, and there it goes as expected. And Mauricio finds the seam, much to Turner's dismay, who feels he should have had a hand on that ball. That Mauricio kill will lead to the first of 3 set points here in the third for Elmira. Sosa gets the Engineers in trouble. Oliveira gets something out of nothing. Sky dig ends up with a swing for Mauricio, who adds to his kill total with the set point to push the Elmira Soaring Eagles to a 2-1 set lead here in the UVC quarterfinal matchup between the 4 and 5 seeds, MIT and Elmira. Taking a look here at the numbers after our third set. Oliveira now leading all MIT attackers with 9 kills while hitting .292. Philip Johnson not far behind as a middle with 7 kills, but hitting a blistering .455. Gustafson, who has hit his share of troubles on the outside, on and off again, does have 9 kills, but also 5 errors on 18 swings. For Elmira, no surprise that Alberto Mauricio, the senior outside hitter from San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican Republic, is leading all hitters with 18 kills with only 6 errors on 36 attempts to hit .333. Edwin Sosa continues to tear it up with 8 kills on 11 swings, no errors, keeping his hitting percentage at .727. Also on the pin, Jordan Pizer has racked up 8 kills on 15 attempts. As far as team stats, MIT still continues to dip in their hitting percentage, dropping down to .225 with 33 kills and 15 errors. Elmira, holding it above 300, has a significant edge in kills at 45. They also have 14 service errors to MIT's 9. Got him into a little bit of trouble late there in the third, but they managed to come out to take the 2-1 lead. MIT has taken the edge in blocking, 7 blocks to 6, and in digs, 31-26. As the teams come back onto the court, taking a look at lineups and matchups, Elmira has spun the dial a little bit. Not sure they were crazy about the blocking matchup that they found Mauricio in, even though it didn't seem to phase him much. And MIT will back up 1 as they receive serve. So we'll begin the set in a 2-hitter configuration. Once again, if you're just tuning in, we are in the first quarterfinal of the UVC Tournament Championship. Number 4 seed MIT Engineers versus the number 5 seed Elmira Soaring Eagles. Elmira has a 2-1 lead. But to start the third, that off-speed ball on the first tempo from Philip Johnson falls for a kill. Little trickle ball manages to drop in front of everybody. At this point, you'll take him anywhere you can get him. That's MIT's first, or no, excuse me, check that. That's MIT's second ace on the afternoon. That was a very big block by MIT. Somewhat miraculous cover by the Eagles. They get a swing out of it. Not a whole lot not a lot going on there for the Eagles, but managed to get the desperate touch for the kill. Sosa checks back in for the Soaring Eagles. And that's Ryan Mattis, sending the heater into trouble that the Engineers can't handle, giving them the 4th ace of the match. MIT has been very consistent in their serve receive, keeping their offense pretty steady rhythm until late in the third, and now here early in the fourth. There's back into action for first swing, picked up. Transition opportunity for the Soaring Eagle is turned away by the double block of Oliveira and Johnson. We've done a little bit of switching up, looks like, here for the Engineers. Gonna see if Gustafson will find a little more comfort on the left side. Swapped him and Oliveira, I believe, here in the lineup. And I apologize, I made that up. He's right where he's been all along. Speaking of where they've been all along, Munoz Trinidad continues Elmira's serving woes with their 15th of the match. Sosa still stays error-free with a big cover. He owes his libero money for that one because that was a big block that turned him away, but kept it from being an error. Paulus checks in for Pizer to serve for the Soaring Eagles as Mauricio moves back into the front row, hoping to add to his 16 kills on the night. That's a great, smart swing there from Grant O. Going high over the top, into the corner, out of the reach of Alex Vega. Gustafson heads back to the line. He's got a jump serve that can get hot. So far, Elmira hasn't had too much of an issue with it. And until now, Mauricio hadn't had too much of an issue with MIT's block, but that time was different with Turner and Rini teaming up for the stuff. And that's a pretty good sized block for those of you at home. Six, 7, and 6-4 will get in your way a fair amount of the time. Sosa goes back to serve with the hop deep floater. That sails long. That will send Grant O to the service line for the Engineers, looking to get something started to stretch out, get something going to stretch out this 2-point lead early in the fourth set. Got him out of system so far. They're going to go high to their big outside, who takes the roll shot. Another transition opportunity for the Engineers, picked up nicely after the deflection. Windish flying out of the back row to save the tip from Oliveira. And Oliveira is down, still kneeling near our first official, having landed heavily. No one's heading out anywhere just yet. Didn't happen to catch if there was contact or if he came down hard during that rally. Not sure what led him to a tough spot. The athletic trainer heads out to have a chat with Oliveira, and we hope he is okay. He is sharing the kill lead currently for MIT, so that would be quite a blow for them should he not be able to continue. Oliveira is up, but moving somewhat gingerly, being led off by the sports medicine staff here at Vassar College, while the MIT coaching staff sticks their heads together to decide what their answer is going to be to this setback. Oliveira's had a nice match with 9 kills. Only 2 errors on 24 swings. MIT is going to have to look for a way to replace not only his kills, but his solid serve receive so far. This all takes place with MIT nursing a 1-point lead here in the 4th set. The Soaring Eagles currently hold a 2-1 set lead in this quarterfinal match, which means if they can close this gap, small gap admittedly, and win this set, it'll be over. MIT, on the other hand, looking for a way to force the fifth by protecting this slim lead. I'm told that the ball might have come down on Oliveira's head. He took a sharp blow to the head, I believe. Oh, and came down funny. We're just not sure what might have taken place, and we aren't able to take a look at the replay. And that's something that Cohen will not want to see a replay of. That ball is supposed to have topspin on it, and instead sails to the back wall. Samuel Kravitz checks back in. Been doing a nice job as a serving sub all evening for the Engineers. The floater is into Vega, who keeps it in play. Mauricio staying on the right side, off speed, doesn't get much out of it. And which leaves Munoz Trinidad with a very tight, very inside, not much you can do about it set on the left side. Not his customary position, which leads to the hitting error and the point for MIT. That's a real nice serve. A little bit of a scramble here, not the prettiest volleyball we've seen so far tonight. Free ball comes in for the Engineers, who managed to get a little bit of a paintbrush off the top and into the hole in the middle of the court. And that will get to a timeout for the Soaring Eagles. Max Cohen had a question for our number one official there as they came into the timeout. Can't tell you what that one's about, but it was a short conversation with no result. Catching up here at who's stepped in to Oliveira's shoes. And appears to be number 14, Ben Scheres, a sophomore middle blocker from San Diego, California. Comes as a little bit of a surprise, listed as a middle, while Oliveira was very much holding down an outside hitter position for the first three sets. We'll see how it plays out in terms of positioning and serve receive when we come back from the timeout. A little bit of a stumble here. Eagles have fallen behind 4 points after squeaking out a nice win in the third to take the lead. Had a couple miscommunications, couple miscues, but are going to take the court again, see if they can knock Kravitz off of that service line, who's gone on a little bit of a mini run here. Vega pushes it into play. Mauricio looking for fingers, doesn't find any, takes the ball to the back wall. A rare hitting error, rare unforced hitting error for Mauricio. That's his 8th on the match. Kravitz's serving run continues. Tough, tight pass there for Cohen. Can't find the connection with his middle blocker, and another point falls. The Engineers have now stretched their lead to 6 and can feel that 5th set. Hopefully not too early. Kravitz tries a short. It's picked up nicely. Mauricio once again, but is picked up, leading to a nice transition ball to O out of the back row. Vega makes the dig, almost gets in the way. And we're back to first tempo from the Engineers, which is what you would hope for after that type of broken play out of the Soaring Eagles. The Engineers have really done a nice job running their quick tempo. Their two big men are hitting have a combined 13 kills so far tonight. Kravitz decides to end his own run, sending that one long, but not after doing a fair amount of damage and leaving MIT with a 6-point edge here in the fourth. So the front row for the Engineers currently has, by roster anyway, a setter and 2 middles. It's not going to matter with Mauricio not putting the ball in play. So now we are looking at Gustafson, Johnson, and the sub Ben Sherez in the front row for the Engineers, with yet another missed serve, foiling any plans for a large blocking matchup they might have been hoping for. A little bit of confusion here from the Engineers, which is to be expected when your starting lineup gets shaken up a little bit. Sherez in a somewhat perhaps unaccustomed serve receive role, but he does a great job with it there on his first pass. Great recycle touch there from Gustafson. Manages to keep the ball in play. Munoz, Trinidad tries to go quick, only leading to a transition attempt. And in the middle of another transition attempt for the Soaring Eagles, after a big block from Sherez, the Soaring Eagles were called for an under violation. Second officials all over it. Not much of an argument from first-year head coach Ryan McDonough. That will send Sherez to the service line. They continue to run it. Mauricio handles that one nicely. Off speed, doesn't get anywhere. Little joust at the net there. Going to be interesting to see whether that goes as a kill or a block for one of the two involved parties. But in any event, it will go for the Elmira point, which is all anyone really cares about. Aiden Harriet, the first-year setter defensive specialist who has been doing serve receive duties, serving the substitution duties off and on for Munoz Trinidad. Puts one into the net, which will not increase his chances of that off and on again turning into on all the time. Got to go outside. And once again, number 20, Jordan Pizer, really likes to take that high line. MIT hasn't found a way to stop that set when it gets all the way to the pin. He takes it high and he takes it early, and he's hard to stop. It's been a very effective play from Cohen to Pizer. Grant O keeps it in play, but they don't get a whole lot of it. But O with a very nice, very high, very deep swing to get himself out of a little bit of trouble there for the kill. Gustafson will go back for the Engineers, moving them into a two-hitter configuration. Eagles are already there. Sosa and Mauricio in the front row. You know where this one's going. Mauricio with a very clever two-hand ball that's barely picked up. Sosa swings around behind and finds the back line on the step around. Haven't seen a lot of that out of Elmira, not a lot of movement generally in their offense. But Sosa makes the most of a matchup and picks up his 10th kill of the match. Haven't seen a lot of that so far tonight, but MIT gets into their first tempo only to have a big one-on-one block to deny Michael Reaney and cut the lead to 5. Passing stays solid for MIT. There's the over-the-top that the Engineers have been digging for quite a bit throughout the match. That one was uncontested with the one digger extremely deep. It's been something they've been trying to exploit throughout That time to great effect. O catches the net again. Their servicer, MIT servicers have picked up once again. But Elmira still has quite the edge, if you want an edge in errors, 19-13. Cohen takes a little bit off that jumper. MIT still gets a pretty good swing out of it. Slightly out of system. That's not what you want out of a free ball. Vega gets the ball back to Mauricio, who manages to get his own cover and recycle. Elmira can't describe it anything but throw it over, which leads to a transition opportunity for the Engineers, resulting in a kill with Cohen not quite able to stop the Michael Rini quick run. Mauricio's cooled off somewhat, to the extent that you can cool off in a 90-degree day in the Hudson Valley, but his hitting has cooled off somewhat, narrowly escaping being blocked on his last attempt. Vega does nice work with that float serve, but MIT is in another transition opportunity as Cohen tried to go on two. It's covered nicely, tried to get back to the quick, but couldn't make the connection. Little sticky, spacing might have been a little off in any event. Couldn't find his middle, and it fell uncontested. Mauricio will head to the service line. Alberto is only a sophomore, 6-footer from the Dominican Republic, with a big arm and a big jump. Oh, in system once again. They're going to try Mauricio out of the back row, and it swings like that. They'll let you lead everybody in kills per set. Very pretty out of the back row after a nice one-hand stab. And that's enough for Coach Elwell. He still holds a 5-point lead, but feels a little bit of a momentum shift, perhaps, and takes his first time out. Hope you're still with us here following the MIT timeout here in the fourth set of the first quarterfinal of the UVC Tournament Championship of 2023. Soaring Eagles hold a 2-1 lead here in the fourth, but MIT holds a 4-point lead, looking to close out and force a fifth set. It's what you would expect out of a 4-5 matchup. But as we know, sometimes seedings don't go as far as you might like them to. This one is living up to the billing. Pretty conservative jump serve there that's handled nicely. Off speed that time. Another swing out of the back row from Mauricio, this time blocked and covered. That time Munoz Trinidad, the flying lefty, is able to go high and hard to the angle. Dug pretty nicely, but no one could chase down for a second contact. Mauricio is keeping these run alive as MIT feels a little bit of a lead slipping away, and perhaps some momentum shifting to the Eagles. And you can mark that one as a potentially telling moment for the Engineers, as Ben Sherris hitting error on the outside, as he is a replacement for the on the bench Troy Oliveira. who went down early in this set. We haven't been able to find out so far what the issue might have been, but he remains on the bench. And he had been very productive and very consistent on the outside for the Engineers. Obviously, Sherez is hoping to find that rhythm as well. Mauricio ends his own run. Didn't get quite the ball I think he wanted out of the back row that time, and sails it a little bit long, which, with MIT pushing and winning the race to 20, will lead to a Soaring Eagles timeout. When talking to Coach Elwell of MIT, who's in his 6th season with the Engineers, by the way, he had talked very much about wanting to contain the somewhat pin-heavy Elmira, which has borne out statistically, with Mauricio and Munoz Trinidad receiving 71 sets so far in this match. That is very much pin-heavy. They have contained to a degree. He also talked about wanting to be competitive in the long rallies and in the transition game. And when they've managed to keep their offense clicking, they have been competitive in those long rallies and have been very patient in their hitting game, not making a lot of hitting errors, at least through their transition. It has borne true, especially now that this 4 sets more than 2/3 over, as the 2 hitting percentages have started to converge, with Elmira currently at 272, having reached at one point pushing 400, and MIT climbing up to 221. It's evening out. Serve receive still continues to definitely favor the Engineers. But when you're a pin-heavy team, you won't feel serve receive issues as much as a team who likes to go first tempo as the Engineers do. Another ball goes to the replacement there on the outside, Ben Sherez, for a block by the Soaring Eagles to end the scoring run and win out of the timeout. Gustafson, on the other hand, makes the most of that one-on-one on the quick tempo to the pin and drills the ball into the corner for the kill. At 22-18, MIT's got to be feeling fairly good about trying to force this 5th set. If they can hold on, and passing like that will help them hold on. But it's a funny game. Grant O, once again, showing a little bit of range, going over the top, down the line, inching closer to a 5th set. Sherez is back to the service line now. They've been essentially targeting Mauricio. This time they don't target anybody, sailing both long and wide and letting Elmira off the hook. Elmira has yet to get it to 20, however. So a couple side outs will get MIT the 5th set that they desperately need to keep their hopes alive of playing another match this season. Serving sub for the Engineers, didn't get a lot out of it, but he missed his last one, so not too surprised. Oh, gets the single block, only to, there's a big pancake out of the defensive sub. Gotta love to see a little man picking up a ball, and that's 2 for Chang. Defensive sub scooping up the debris. Elmira ended up with 3 chances in that rally, mostly because Chang wouldn't let either of the other 2 happen. And in the end, it's a very timely block on Mauricio from big Michael Rini in the middle, the 6'7", first year from Huntington Beach, California. So this is the first of 4 set points for the Engineers. With Rini at the line, Mauricio is still the serving target. And they finally break the errorless streak of Edwin Sosa, 4 set point to force a 5th set. Sosa, to that point, had not had a single hitting error on 18 attempts. But he got his first at a tough time. So we're going to 5, folks, which is what you hope is going to happen when you get a 4 or 5 seed. We'll be back in just a minute for the deciding set and an exciting beginning to the UVC tournament here at Kenyon Gym on the campus of Vassar College in Poughkeepsie, New York. So our first quarterfinal match is living up to the billing. 4 seed MIT versus 5 seed Elmira is coming down to the always exciting and always pressure-filled 5th set. We will play to 15 here in the 5th. Both teams have won 2 sets. They have traded sets so far, with the Soaring Eagles winning the 1st and the 3rd, the MIT Engineers winning the 2nd and the crucial 4th to stay alive and run to the 5th. Heading into this 5th set, the tail of the stats tells you that it's been a pretty close match. Both teams not doing a great job offensively. MIT at 218 with 42 kills, and Elmira at 244, but with a significant edge in kills with 54. One of the big turns, MIT has a 3-block edge from 11 to 8, and the serving errors have been a little bit of a story. Early on, they were a very big part of the story and have stayed somewhat, with Elmira with 20 service errors through 4 sets. Probably more than you want, especially with only 4 aces to offset. MIT has done a pretty good job handling what service pressure has come and are moving in to the 5th. Individually, Alberto Mauricio leads all hitters with 19 kills. His average has fallen off a little bit as MIT has made a couple adjustments, and Mauricio has not always gotten all the balls where he wants them. Jordan Pizer is next for Elmira with 11 kills on 19 attempts. Excuse me. MIT has 2 players at 10 kills, Gustafson and Johnson out of the middle, and 2 with 9, Oliveira and O on the pins. One of the big stories here is the loss of Troy Oliveira to an injury in the 4th set. His replacement, Ben Sheres, will have a key role to play here in the 5th. We'll start with O, who goes over the top into the 6th, picked up by Mauricio. Mauricio out of the back row on his first swing of the 5th, faces a triple block that he can't find a way through. Sometimes the first point at a big one in a 5th set sets the tone, and that definitely sets the tone for the Engineers with a block of the leading hitter in the nation in kills per set. Nice short float. Gives Vega a little bit of trouble. And Pizer finds a ball into the pin for a hitting error. And a quick couple of points for the Engineers. Our down official asks the Soaring Eagles to not huddle quite as long as they might have. Doesn't make everybody happy, but he had a point. Ball sails just long, apparently based on the reaction from the MIT players on the court. But sometimes that's the difference between that ace and that error, and Turner knows which he would have preferred to have. Rare miscue from the MIT serve receive that leads to a fortuitous hit directly into the net by the Elmira Eagles. There's a little bit of chatting going on between the officials and the coach. Not sure why. That was pretty straightforward. Please note, the MIT Engineers have made a fairly significant adjustment. We talked about the replacement for Troy Oliveira. They have now moved, who had been playing libero, Kevin Windish, into that other outside spot. One would assume to hold on to serve receive and ball control, and putting George Chang, a freshman from Winter Springs, Florida, in at libero. Fifth set's not a time when you generally would like to be changing your lineup, but injuries will do that to you. Another pass from Windish. They're going to try Gustafson on the right side, who finds the seam dead into the 6 for a kill. It's a good time. This would be a great time for Gustafson to get hot, as he has not had the match I'm sure he would prefer, as he is one of the big hitters in the UVC and leads the Engineers in kills. Vega doesn't get everything he wanted out of that pass. Little off-speed ball is picked up. Gustafson, the roll shot, sends Vega into a setting roll. Gives a pretty good ball to Mauricio, but he takes it through the block and long. Probably looking for some hands on that did not materialize. Sometimes you get the seam that you wish you hadn't gotten. MIT wins the race to 5, but then lets Elmira off the hook with a missed serve by Johnson. Back row sub Paulus into serve, as he has been all match. Done a nice job, consistent top spin serve. Gustafson, matchup there of the two stars, one-on-one, and Gustafson wins the battle at the net with Mauricio with the tool for the kill. Mauricio will now face Turner and Rini at the net, which is a matchup you would think would favor the Engineers, as that's a fairly big block. Being in system will help. Do we know if that ball hit the ground or not? Yes, it did. Just for a second there, a number of people thought that might have been off the foot of Gustafson for the kill, but it was wishful thinking, and that's a mighty big hit from a mighty strong hitter. A little bit out of system issue for the Engineers to see the erstwhile libero for MIT, left-handed outside hitter, Kevin Windish, picking up slack for the injured Troy Oliveira. Going to try Grant O out of the back row. Nice dig there from Munoz Trinidad. Some fairly conservative play here so far. Everybody's taking good care of the ball. But Gustafson comes up with a big swing out of the back row for the kill. And a 2-point lead for the Engineers. Things happen fast in the fifth set, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes 2-point lead is all it takes. Other times 6 or 7 won't be enough. Jump serves easily handled. Elmira goes to the first tempo with Ryan Mattis matching up against Michael Rini, which 6'2 to 6'7 is not the matchup perhaps you're looking for, and it goes the favor of the bigger man this time. That will push the lead to 4 at 8-4 for MIT. After the side switch, Coach McDonough chooses the timeout. Not uncommon in the high-pressure fifth set. Sometimes that switch can work as a timeout for you, he decided to go ahead and stretch it out and have a chat with his team. If MIT can hold this lead, and it's a long way to go, a little over halfway, isn't very far when you're dealing with a fifth set. If MIT can hold this lead, they'll have to be real pleased with being able to handle a little bit of adversity, losing one of their starting outsides to an injury in the fourth, holding on to win that fourth, and then able to make a lineup adjustment, moving a libero to a pin, a DS into a libero, and taking a 4-point lead. It's interesting to not having seen someone hit a serve in an entire match leading into the fifth set. But Windish has been playing libero the whole time, and liberos don't get to serve at this level. Mauricio blocked again and covered again. And he manages to sneak it by Turner. Got to figure that is definitely the matchup that MIT wants to have against a hitter like Mauricio. And they won that matchup once, but the cover saved the Eagles. Cohen taking a little bit off that jump. We're going to go outside to O, who once again shows his affinity for the high line. And while Vega got a piece, it wasn't a good enough piece to keep it from being a kill. After trading side outs, MIT holds on to its 4-point lead. Checking Kravitz back into the service line, who has gone on a few little runs here, and MIT would sure love for him to go on one right now. Vega struggles a little bit with the first serve. And that's what gets you out of trouble when you struggle in serve receive, is having a pin hitter like Mauricio, who can do a lot with not a whole lot of set. Kravitz checks backs out. Libero's back. Chang, the fifth set libero, also back in. And Mauricio back to serve. You sometimes would think having Mauricio in the back row would be a boon, but the way he hits out of the back row, it's not a whole lot different. Oh, went for the off speed that they had been cultivating throughout the match. This time it was gotten a hold of by a reaching Munoz Trinidad, but he couldn't keep it in play. So MIT wins the race to 10. They're playing 1 game to 5, and they're starting with a 4-point lead. And Vega with a very poorly timed serve receive error. Might have gotten a late out call from the bench or his teammates, not sure which. Couldn't get his hands up in time. Bringing another, Turner's got same floater, Vega again, a little better this time. Gonna try Munoz Trinidad with a great high swing to beat a pretty good sized block into the deep, deep cross court corner. Big side out there by Munoz Trinidad. Still looking it up at a 4-point deficit are the Eagles. But things can go fast, especially with somebody getting hot as a jump server. MIT was looking for something, and they got something. They were looking for a touch. The appeal went to the linesperson, who made the call. The Soaring Eagles are not pleased with this call. Hard to say. Touches are very, very capricious animals. No knowing, looking at Gustafson, he's not going to let on whether or not he thought there was a touch. Of course, Elmira is not going to let on. And instead, O's serving with a 5-point lead. And that's a timely block from your team leader, Nick Gustafson, one-on-one on the pin. drops that hand inside on the left-handed angle for a crucial point to take a 6-point lead and force a second and final Soaring Eagle timeout. MIT can definitely feel a trip into the semifinals at this point, but nobody likes to take the foot off the gas until that last whistle has blown. Should they hold on, they will face the number 1 seed, Vassar College Brewers, at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon right here in Kenyon Hall on the campus of Vassar College. Elmira knows they've got their backs against the wall at this point. Come out of the timeout, very much needing a side out, and even that side out will leave them with quite a hill still to climb. Grant O has very quietly put together a very effective match, maybe not so quietly, for MIT. Currently sitting on 11 kills on 29 swings, and bombing away with his jump serve. Mauricio puts it in play this time, and there's big Edwin Sosa back in action. Hadn't seen much of Edwin here late in the fourth, but he put that one down with authority to put his team back into serving posture with a lot of points to make up here in the 5th set. This is the first quarterfinal, 4 seed, 5 seed. MIT close to closing it out. Not a great pass, but Gustafson with a lucky ping there from Elmira. Gustafson thought he had himself a kill on that. Got some strange English on the ball and managed to careen back over. He got another swing and sent it wide. I believe Coach Elwell thinks about it and then pulls the trigger on his first timeout. Holding a 4-point lead in the 5th can be pretty nervy territory for any team. You feel that momentum even start to slip a little bit. They've done a great job here in the 5th of both blocking and converting their transition opportunities. And Elmira has not been great on their offensive play so far. You got to figure they're going to try and saddle up and get on Mauricio's back, see if he can come up big here late in the 5th. But as I say, they're looking uphill and definitely have some work to do. So both teams have had a chance to talk it over. Aiden Harride, freshman from Buffalo, New York, is in as the serving specialist, trying to get something started for the Soaring Eagles, down big in the 5th here in the quarterfinal. Great pass from the libero who had just now become the libero in the 5th set. Got him into first tempo, and an uncharacteristic hitting error from Philip Johnson. Signs of life from the Eagles. Another very nice ball. They're going to try Gustafson, and that's the ball he likes. You get him all the way to the pin, you better take his line, because that's where he's going to put it. He's been very successful with that shot, and no time more so important than that one to give the MIT Engineers their first of 4 set points to win this quarterfinal. Match points, to win this quarterfinal and advance into the semis. Still going at Mauricio as the server. They're going to get a swing. MIT is going to get a transition opportunity. And there's and there's the libero converted to the outside with the off speed over the top for the kill to close it out. 15-10. That means the MIT Engineers will advance for a matchup against the number 1 seed, Vassar College Brewers, right here tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. We'll be back in just a moment to give you a recap of the match and set up a preview for our next semifinal featuring the number 3 seed St. John Fisher and number 7 NYU. Well, as I've already said, the 4 or 5 seed is the one match you potentially expect to be the real battle, and this one was exactly that. The tale of the stats in a long and competitive match. MIT ended up closing the gap that was pretty substantial early on in the match in hitting percentage, ending up at 238 with 50 kills